Aston Martin, the team that finished 7th in 2021 and 2022 out of the 10 teams that we have in Formula One. Obviously, these weren't the aspirations that Aston Martin was looking for their 2021 and 2022 season. Vettel even had in a prediction that they would finish 3rd in the Constructors in 2021. Clearly, they were way off and probably had the 6th or 7th fastest car after having a year in 2020 where they were probably the 3rd fastest car. 2022 started off very weak, with them being actually 9th for most of the year, but then actually getting the car to probably like 5th or 6th position where they were actually able to compete with the McLaren car and the Alpine car. The news for 2023 has been great, and the Aston Martin team has said that they have found loopholes as well as advancing the car a lot and changing a lot on the car to develop it, specifically for a guy that I will mention in this video called Fernando Alonso. Now, Fernando is obviously an essential part of this team, just like Vettel was while he was there. If it wasn't for Vettel's retirement, they would be probably making the car even more towards Vettel, but now they are making it towards Fernando, who we know pushes out the best out of any car that he drives. They have already talked about that. They have found some innovative loopholes. Eric Blandon actually talks about it in a whole entire undercut interview on the Aston Martin website about everything that they have changed, what their expectations are, and so on. He even talks about if the expectations aren't met, but the team is very confident expectations will be met and they will be a force to be reckoned with. They talk about the car being a lot better than it was in 2022, with a lot bigger upgrades happening to the car being a lot better in the wind tunnel, that they have a lot more ways to actually upgrade this car. They talk about aggressive upgrade maps so that they can actually have a good plan going into the 2023 season, as well as the car is starting off strong, but also developing a lot stronger throughout the whole entire Formula One 2023 season. 95% of the aero has actually been changed on the car. The 2022 car, by the end of the season, was not a bad car, but for them to change 95% of it means that they have some idea of what they're going to be doing for the next couple of years to keep advancing the car even more and more. They talk about Fernando Alonso being actually a key factor in advancing the car. By the 2022 test that they had, that actually helped with what they're doing with the 2023 car now. He talks about what was wrong in the Alpine and what was wrong in the Aston Martin, what was stronger in the Alpine and what was stronger in the Aston Martin. So it gave him an even bigger idea on how to develop a car around a guy like Fernando Alonso. The key thing they talk about is key innovations, something that they found that are loopholes in comparison to what they had of last year. Now, this does interest me, and I guess we will see it on February 13th when the car actually gets shown, but it is something that is a good thing. They had loopholes just like last year that actually some teams even followed some of the things that were designed on the first AMR-A. The AMR-A had the bottom part of the car that was copied by almost everybody onto the Formula One grid. Specifically, Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari copied it right away. That's not really talked about when talking about copying. Typically, they'll talk about the green bull, quote unquote, that was actually a car developed by Aston Martin a long time ago. But the key innovation that actually had a lot of teams turning their heads, and really the FIA, was the rear wing that they had, with the upper parts coming back from like in 2021. Now, if they were able to innovate that on a car that was pretty pathetic, might I add, in the very beginning of the season, they can definitely innovate on a car that's completely new and a little bit of a regulation change, so who knows what they have actually found. They talk about taking everything from the 2022 season and actually applying it to this year's car. I talked about it being 95% different on the aero surfaces, but they even talk about 90% of the internal parts being different in the new AMR23. All this positive news has me thinking that Aston Martin will have a bright season in 2023, but it is a season that they need to execute. After having a bad 2021 and 2022, 2023 is very important for them to actually continue the legacy of Aston Martin in Formula One if they want to continue making a name for themselves in Formula One. Without 2023 being good, it will be another year where they're going to be staggered back and it's just kind of a loss of expectations, and they might even lose a superstar driver in Fernando Alonso. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you think Aston Martin will bring out a competitive car with at least all of the midfield and maybe competing with the top, or will they drop back to back markers and competing with the lower end of the midfield? Let me know your thoughts down below. Please leave a like, subscribe. It would mean the world, and peace.